Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Wellness Woman episode 126. I'm very excited to be here today. It's a solo episode, and I will be sharing quite a few things to do with an update on my personal life because I was going to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it also in the realm of lesson learned, how women thrive and why we make certain choices. And I'm going to share a little bit more than I shared before. I think it's a good time now, but I'm going to give it to you in sound bites because it is a lot. And so every time I will share a solo episode, I will bring in some elements just so that we can follow along because I think it's a lot. Okay. So first of all, a big shout out to my wonderful affiliates, and I am going to shout out mainly to NamaWell. The NamaWell team is making amazing juicers, milk makers, and even blenders to really facilitate having more plants in our life. We know that fiber is incredibly important, and yes, there is fiber still in juices. And it is incredibly important also to get micronutrients into your diet, which come from the plants. And we know that we need to aim for about 30 plants a day, and we need to have 30 grams of fiber every day. And having a juice in the morning, quite honestly, really does help you get more micronutrients, things like antioxidants, but also helps you go for more plants, more variety. And that is the only way we can get our body to really function well. So I really suggest getting yourself a nice juicer if you can invest in one. They come with over 10 years warranty. Their milk maker even is amazing. They make barista-like milk just from one ingredient, which is the choice of your nuts or seeds. And quite honestly, it's made by people that really, really care. And I love working with them. I just became an affiliate. Up to now, I was not getting paid for suggesting the blender, but I had a conversation with them about many projects, including this podcast, but also the project that I have with my wonderful friend and mentor, Brenda Davis, which is coming out in April. It's called Nutrition Unpacked, and we really unpack every single fad that is online. And a lot of wonderful people like Simon Hill are doing this, like Dr. Gil Carvalho. But I thought, well, we can get together because I'm obviously in the wellness space, and Brenda's a dietitian for over 40 years. She's in dietetics, and we can bring together the science and the lifestyle, and we can just correct what is being said out there, from spikes in glucose to our first episode we actually recorded is about the guidelines, and it was so good because we went through the whole document, which is only 9 pages versus 400 that was proposed by the scientists who actually worked on the the suggestions that we should follow. And it was amazing. So stay tuned for that one. And because we have so many projects, obviously, your support by purchasing with my code allows me to have more availability, to have better, people online on board to edit. For example, right now I'm editing. I'm not the best editor, but I'm editing the podcast and the show, and to really grow so that we can reach more people. Unfortunately, we are fighting against the algorithm here. So if you want to use the code, go into my show notes. I would actually do a nice podcast episode to show you how wonderful that juicer is because I love it. I've been using it since 2021, September, when they gifted it to me and gave me a code for you guys, but I wasn't getting paid. I wasn't an affiliate. And now I'm on board with the team, which I'm really excited about because I'm joining actually amazing people that are also sharing the Nama well, and they talk about it, and we all want to really make you healthy. So of course, even if you buy from my colleagues, I love it because you're still getting something for your body that is good for you. The other thing is Newsest. I'm an affiliate for Newsest for about 2 years now. Actually, I have the Good Green Vitality here. We're going to talk about green powders today in this episode as well at the end. And I love them because they are basically a complement or supplement to a healthy diet. And I say that because I don't want people to think this is replacing anything. No, it's just giving more. And we're going to talk about the different things that are coming up in the mainstream about green powders. So, and why I choose Newzest and why I really love this brand and company for the ethics and values, and also the story. And I actually have interviewed the founders, Monique and Trevor, who are daughter and father. Um, because they created this product for Monique, who has MS and thrives with medication, lifestyle, and adding this in. And at the beginning, she was just adding many powders, so it was a little bit intense. So yeah, so this is really something that you can try out, and I'll share more later. So all the codes are in the show notes. So those are my main ones. And of course the Lumen. You guys have seen me post about the Lumen, which is a metabolic tracker. The Lumen is something I use every day. It's really helped me understand my body when I don't get out of carb burn, if I fast too long, if I'm stressed, if I don't sleep well, all these variables. And then when I'm really optimizing my switch, this is really to learn about your metabolic flexibility. I will share another episode to talk about that specifically because I think it's important in conjunction with women's hormones and health. And I really want to help you understand how it works so that if you choose to get it, then you can benefit from basically not stressing that the numbers are not telling you what you want and not following a very linear pathway. So that's very important. Okay, so let's get into the episode. So a little update about my life. I've been sharing online for a while the things that I've been going through since 20. I will go back to 2016. I always go back to that because I think that was a pivotal year for me to really go through something emotionally hard, but not dealing with it. And it was an accumulation of it, really years of accumulation of a particular subject, which I don't want to really mention, there's no need, but um, that I didn't pay attention to. And it had to do with trust, and it had to do with loving unconditionally. And I honestly and don't regret making the choices that I did because I think it served me to grow. But it reminded me that I never put myself first. Like I was so enamored with myself, like not respecting my boundaries, not having any probably, and always needing to be liked by other people so that I could feel like I liked me. And it built up. And I think this is something that is very relevant for most women, most people in general, but I'm going to speak about women because we are much more giving than our counterparts because it's just our nature to be nurturing. And I speak generally, of course, on both sides, but we I just needed to go through it, I guess. And but I didn't have the time to really think about me because I was supporting Kyle through also his struggle at the time, and I put him first as I've done since the beginning. Um, then we had this project in Portugal, which I mentioned before, and it was a very stressful project because new country, flying up and down once a month and dealing with Portuguese builders who are for the most part macho, who think that because you're a woman you don't know anything, that they shouldn't really tell you or speak to you. And Kyle wasn't a present male figure. He doesn't speak any Portuguese. He wasn't really interested in running this project. I mean, it's his character as well. It's just not someone that deals with these things. And whether he likes to admit it or not, but so it was easier for me to do it, but it was very stressful because it ended up consuming me because I had to really jump some hurdles and managing a lot of things like the cost of things, trying to really save us money, but at the same time build this retreat. And we wanted to launch it in 2019 so that when we moved here, we could have retreats. We had a couple of launch retreats, but we were full for 2020 and then the pandemic happened. But in the meantime, myself, I started having health issues, which I didn't know what they were down to because I didn't even bother or had the strength or courage to go to a doctor. I was so exhausted that I just thought, okay, well, I'm obviously out of balance here. I'm stressed. I was just bringing it down to stress, which had a massive impact. But I was also not supported. I wasn't supported by my mom when she came over, when I asked her to come in 2019, because I had broken my wrist just a month before we moved here. And when she came, it was all about her. And the constant reminder that, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. And it was really stressful because, we had spent a lot of money. We still had to spend a lot of money, but things don't happen in a day. And she was just putting a lot of pressure, speaking about money all the time. And Kyle was getting irritated. I was getting irritated. We were not communicating already very much. I was just not in a good place. But at the same time, he also started pointing fingers at me for not being like the right, not acting the right way. Even though it didn't, I was trying to cry out and say, what this is, I'm really struggling here. Like I'm struggling here. I've moved from having a community to somewhere I don't know anyone. It's a lot of stress. My mother was stressing me out. She ended up leaving earlier, thank God. But you know, it's just sad. Like that was my breaking point, understanding that my relationship with my mom had always been skewed. I speak about this in other episodes. And again, I want to reiterate that this is not because my mom is a bad person. It's just because she has trauma as well, and she never healed from it. And she refuses really to even see a therapist, which I think is so important for us to do. It's the best investment you will ever make in your life because investing in that kind of healing has a ripple effect on your whole life. So when you don't see things happening, actually being able to talk to somebody that is not biased will make an impact, will allow you to create, to open up, to make space. Because trauma is something that keeps us stuck. Because our brains want to keep us safe. So they will go wherever they are familiar with whatever is happening. And sometimes that's trauma, the trauma response or the trauma situation. So we repeat a loop all the time. And then there's the ancestral trauma too that we have to really tap into. So it's interesting, but that happened. And so by the time 2021 came along, when everything was available for retreats, I just didn't have the strength. And to this day, I'm blamed by Kyle, saying that basically I didn't want the place to work. But it took me 3 years to reverse what I found out in 2021 that was type 2 diabetes. And the funny thing is that through this time, there was also a lot of stress. Like my little dog Marley was having a lot of health issues, like allergies, and we didn't know where they came from. I went to see a holistic vet too. It's like, she's picking up on how you're feeling, which makes so much sense because as soon as I started getting better, she started getting better too. And now she's perfect. And I am really healthy. So, but as I started healing and reversing type 2 diabetes and my adrenal exhaustion, which basically was my cortisol being extremely high all the time, lack of sleep, lack of focus, I couldn't do anything. I was just always, I always say this, I was always on alert. Like even if somebody would talk to me in the morning and say good morning, I would be triggered. From a good morning, that's when you know that your nervous system is really on the brink. And again, I wasn't getting supported. Part of it is that I have family living with me who didn't understand what was going on, and I can't blame them. I didn't understand what's going on. And then my husband, right, Kyle, who didn't, he doesn't know how to support. He's not a bad person, but it's just because he also has to do work that he refuses to do, it's just unable to support. And it would say, it would say the opposite. It would say that, whatever. It would say that he's doing everything that he has to. But the truth is, after going to therapy together, and the therapist actually asking him to go and see her for a reason to help him, and he refusing to go, like I can see that it's just no willingness. So in 2023, by 2023, when I was healthier, I was feeling healthy. I just had this aha moment that if I didn't start doing things for myself, I would always be chained to a situation that would make me feel small and disempowered. And that meant that I had to leave my marriage. And I hadn't figured out that I would be divorcing by then, but I just needed that space, and that space gave me the time to really think that I was with someone that wasn't supportive of me. He was saying that he was supportive of me, but every time I asked for advice, the response was pray about it. If I was there was a lot of stuff going on that I will share later, not now, that we went through that he doesn't even take responsibility for. He doesn't understand the impact that it had on me and even my siblings. And I was getting blamed for everything because there is this thing about a relationship where I was pushed to put things in the front of people, like it was coming from me, and it was very, I was sure. And in a way, I started believing certain things because it was easier not to fight and say, okay, but I'm thinking logically here, this doesn't make sense, and being called like somebody doesn't have faith. And the thing is that the truth is, my relationship with God, and it's just it's different to the relationship that Kyle created with God. I don't do dogma. I never did, and I was, obviously accused for not wanting to go on prayer calls and go to a Sunday church in 2020 when everything locked down, everybody was having online church. I just it didn't feel right. It doesn't feel like being there actually makes me any closer to God. In fact, I felt like I was getting resentful of this dogma because I don't believe that dogma is the way forward. And I don't believe that there is one way to do it. And I don't believe that so many rules. And I don't believe that people are, that we have to look at people right now. Like, how do we, this, like, how do you know when somebody is a, I don't know. I can't even word it right now. It's just, let's leave it for another episode because it goes a little bit into the, the new uh, Israelites movement and what it means. And then there's flexibility there because it's not really what you see online, but at the same time, there's a little bit of racism. It's become, it's honestly a joke. And I'm going to be so told off for this, I know, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it is true. And I am going to stick to my truth about this because it was my experience and I'm not going to let anybody take it away from me. And I can see a lot of women that are with these men that have been getting into this have left. I've left the men. And so we get blamed, right? We, of course, we get blamed because the men I cannot do no wrong. But I mean, hi, like the common denominator here is the action and the thoughts and all these things that are happening in parallel to life. And we only looking at bad things, and it just became too much. And I just knew that when I left living on the farm full time, because obviously I couldn't drive up and down between Braga and Arcos de Valdevez, where my farm is, because it's 50 minutes drive. It costs a lot to drive. It's a lot of time. I started getting exhausted and I started getting a lot of fines because I was trying to get from one place to another really quick because I was just so tired of driving. And I was like, I can't do this. And so as I disconnected more, I mean, of course, Kyle will say, I feel better without you because you are negative, again, the pointing finger thing, which I don't miss because I feel like this is actually a proof of immaturity. I was trying to really say, okay, well, I'm disconnecting. If you really want to be together, if you love me, maybe this will wake you up that something is not right and we need to work about it. But instead, it wasn't a working about it. It was like, you need to change back to the person you were, which is putting me first and not looking after yourself because I don't like the person you become, right? And I'm like, hold on. So you're not changing at all? No. So, and it did change, but not in a way that I think has helped our relationship. And I am not the horrible things that you can say because it's someone that will go from 0 to 100, like really, like you will go from being super calm, which is what most people see, to being angry and saying horrible things but meaning them because he says them a lot. And also like hypocrisy never ending, like I can't go back and say anything from the past, but he would bring back everything from the past. And it's like, hold on a second. So all these things accumulated, and now I'm feeling really secure to share them because it's the truth, because it's evidence. I'm evidence based. So, um, and I'm not a victim of this. I actually facilitated this behavior for many years, right? Because again, I didn't have self-love, but when I started having it, and I started moving away from feeling like a victim, which I was getting into, I realized that many relationships in my life had to change, and that included my family, and I don't regret it. I don't regret it one bit because, again, I think biological family, again, is not chosen family all the time. Sometimes you're lucky that you have the family you want, and the times, no, but they teach you a lesson. So one thing that I've definitely done is forgive because I am grateful for the lessons for them from everybody, including Kyle and my mom and my dad. Um, and my brother, who right now is not even talking to me, but is going through his process. So maybe one day. And, those are all lessons. And they need to teach us something. So what I started doing in the last year and a half is studying Kabbalah. And what Kabbalah has done is really this appreciation for pause. What a pleasure. It's happening. The shit is hitting the fan. I'm so happy because it's happening. It's teaching me something. How many people can say that we react like that when something goes wrong? Like we always like, oh no, why me? Well, why? Not why me? Why? Why is this happening? What do I have to learn? That's a better question. And I think it really allows us to learn more. So with this moving, changing, I have managed to really get healthy mentally, spiritually, physically, and come to grieve grieve a lot of losses, but also have looking at the future. And in this future, I have to be wise and I need to be mindful. And I have a lot of work to do. I'm working on a massive project, which is taking forever. And, Kyle called me a loser for not obtaining what I wanted so many years that you've been doing it. I've been doing it for 2 years and a half. And yeah, it's not that easy when you want to create something massive, like really big to make a shift, but we're not going to go there because I don't respond to those kind of accusations when they're not true and when they come from like anger and again not being a regulated mature man. Like, that regulation is important for a man to have, and a man that doesn't make you feel like speak and sentences, shouts over you, that's not a regulated person. However, they want to feel more like holier than thou, but they're not regulated. And so when someone is not regulated, you just don't respond. You just accept that that's the case and you forgive and you move on. And this is what I've done. And it's been so peace bringing because I don't have to fight it. It's not me and it's not my fault and it's not my problem. I just have to do what I need to do so that I can have the life that I deserve and want. And I know I can have because I am achieving things, and I am making an impact. And that's the most important thing. Like those are the facts. And so it doesn't bother me when someone just says horrible things because they are just not feeling regulated. So I'm gonna just leave that there, like in terms of personal updates. But yeah, right now we are just going through our separation and having to divide our goods, and me moving forward, and him moving forward too. And I hope that he will be happy as much as I hope that, and I know I will be happy, because we both deserve to be happy, and happiness comes with self work, and I am definitely doing that, and I'm seeing a therapist, and I love it. And as I said at the beginning, everybody should have the opportunity to see someone, even if for a few sessions, to be a sounding board that is not biased and that can bring you a little bit of awareness about the things that are happening to you. Because this is something that I will talk about this in another episode, but I see this with Kyle and my mother, like the similarity. They think they just have it all figured out. So my mom thinks she is doing self-help, and Kyle thinks she is doing self-help with the help of God. And I'm like, well, there's the spiritual side, but there is also the mental and traumatic things that you have gone through, even with your mother, whose shame he lost his mom a couple of months ago. She passed in an accident at home, which was horrible. And so he's obviously hurt, and that is really sad. We didn't get along with his mom. She didn't like me. But you know, you you feel the pain, and especially how she passed in that home accident, being all alone. It didn't actually affect me, like it hurt me because it's just not, she didn't deserve it. She was a very hardworking woman. She was wrong about a lot of stuff, but it was a life, but she lived, for yeah, and she did everything she had to do. And Kyle lost his mom, and of course it's hard because they were close. So, there's compassion, and there is obviously empathy there because, it hurts, like they were really close. So he's he's going through it, and so I hope he will recover also from things that, I think they didn't speak about everything they need to speak about. There was a lot of untold stuff because she, like him, are not someone, they're not, they don't know how to have deep conversations and stay in it with the pain and the grief. They escape it, which is most human beings. Like, it's painful to look at yourself and be like, oh, I need to change some things, or oh, I made a mistake, or not a mistake. I did go in a direction that maybe I shouldn't have gone to. So no, okay, whatever, learn from it. Like, it's hard for people. So we have bypasses, right? We try escaping this with spiritual bypassing, which is what I always tell Carl is doing, or drugs, or alcohol, or working too much, or sex. Like, everybody finds an escape, and those escapes, we're funny how we can judge other people's escapes, but we all have them if we don't pay attention to them. So in the meantime, my therapy has been amazing. And, my therapist doesn't even want to see me. She's like, "You fine now? Like, just, And I'm like, okay, I don't have to see you every week, but I want to see you occasionally because sometimes, especially as a woman going through my perimenopause, I do have moments where I feel like, oh my gosh, is it me? What's going on? Like, I have doubt, right? And I think it's normal, and I think it's actually quite a telling thing that you're maturing. Because I always say that when I was in my early 20s, even as a teenager, I was a bit of a narcissist, and that's because from trauma you can become a narcissist, from pain you can become a narcissist. There are very different levels of narcissism. It's not just the psychopathic narcissist that we're talking about, which is what everybody uses loosely online, but there are many ways to be a narcissist. Like, you put yourself at the center of everything because of what you've been through, so you feel like you are deserving of the empathy, of the pity, of whatever comes along. And in truth, we all are, you know, we all are on a journey. And I guess I'm trying to find the words to like make it make sense, but like, you have to understand where the trauma comes from so that you can see when the light actually let me through my phone. When the trauma that you had can impact your behavior. And I think it's just so important because we oftentimes forget that it does it. Is normal. But when we don't pay attention to that, then we become the center of everything. And so it becomes like me, and then everything is against me instead of being like, actually, I'm part of this universal flow. And it is about us too. Like, we are obviously our universe in a way, like we are the most important person in our life. If you don't look after yourself, you can't look after anybody else. And it's okay to be, but at the same time, part of a bigger picture so that we pay attention to these things. So, in the meantime, as I started healing all aspects, I started obviously feeling so empowered and so sure that the person I've become and I am becoming, because I think the work is never done, is someone I can be proud of now. Like admitting my wrongdoings and saying sorry to the people I had to say sorry to, but I'm still gonna hold the my my right to have reservation against being in a very deep relationship with people that maybe were in my life before, as well as I'm gonna hold the people that behave in a certain way accountable to it. Sometimes I don't want to hear it, and it's okay. I cannot control the behavior, the actions, the reactions of other people, but I can definitely move away from those kind of dynamics and accept, forgive, and move away. And that's okay. I don't have to, people judge you for everything, and that's okay. But I am going to be true to myself. Like, if something doesn't bring me not not necessarily peace, but like if it's not conducive to mental well-being, stability, and peace, I guess, is part of it, then, okay, I can't control the situation, but I can control how I'm going to act and react to the situation. So I'm going to make the steps I need to make. So I've been doing that, and it's been the game changer. So yeah, I wanted to share this because I feel like it's important to mention it. But I do that. Many things actually come and really are rooting into my life to make me feel more empowered about making the choices that I'm making. Never been happier and never been more grateful to go through the hard times, the pain, the sorrow, the disappointment with friends, with my loved one, with everything. It's okay to feel disappointed because it is all a lesson, and I'm going to navigate this the best that I can. Whether they judge me or not, whether they think of me in a little way or not, I don't care. I don't really care. I don't care because I know the truth and I'm going to live by that truth. So this is something that has transpired, which I'm really proud of. Now, going back to health and physical health, obviously I share about what I do, what I take. As I mentioned, I work out every day. I will talk about hypothalamic amenorrhea next week because unfortunately, since last June, I still don't have my period. July, sorry, I don't have my period. I know where it comes from and I know where the struggle is, and I will share all about it in the next episode that I do solo. But I am taking care of myself in the best way that I know how. So, for example, my workouts, honestly, are necessary for my mental health. Like I have sometimes I have a little bit of anxiety, and I know that if I go and just work out for 45 minutes, I will feel good. Like I do yoga every morning for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but then I will go and actually do a workout. I don't even push myself beyond um the the level that I've gotten to, which is, you want to get to failure, but I know my body cannot take it right now. So I don't even get to failure. I work out so that I can expand the energy. I can still keep toned and healthy and mobile, but yeah, I need to obviously fix some things, which is obviously adding more calories into my diet, which I try, but it's really hard when you're running around and you're trying to do things, and and I don't like eating at night because I don't sleep well, and sleep is so important to me. I've actually found out how much I love sleep. So okay, we're gonna have this ray of light here. It's fine. I look like I'm bathing in a rainbow. But basically, yeah, this is really what's been happening. And one of the things that I do, obviously, working out every day, eating whole foods, amazing foods. And I've been eating actually quite a lot of desserts now because on the weekends I've been making more like the raw desserts, so quite high in calories and fat. Um, yeah, but during the week, obviously, I just hit a number and that is what it is. But I think the last year was a very emotionally draining year. Like in the beginning of summer, it depleted me. I was exhausted from it, like emotionally. So I think that really was what pushed my brain over the edge. I've done blood tests. I don't have menopause, like my FSH is not high. Everything is actually baseline because I think my brain is just saying, let's just stay quiet because the woman is just not able to reproduce right now, which is not what I wanted to do. But so I'm not getting my period, I'm not ovulating. So anyway, I'm trying to nourish my body with like the green juices and the smoothies and the fruit and the nuts and the seeds, and probably I should have more of those, and lots of veggies and good green vitality. This is where this comes in. I mentioned at the beginning, I love this product. It has so many nutrients in there. It's really a supplement that is great. And so I enjoy taking it because it allows me to nourish myself properly. And it's something that I love being able to do for my body. So um I enjoy it. So if you haven't listened to the podcast interview with the founders, please go there. Now, I heard some episodes on the Wellness Scoop. It's a UK podcast, and they were talking about green powders, and Brennan Lambert is a nutritionist, and she doesn't endorse them. Neither does Ella Mills. And I understand why, if they become this again, dogmatic things that you have to take to be healthy, and that's not true. But not all green things are made the same. And when you make them mindfully, not exceeding the amounts, making sure there's not too much of something, you can actually make something really good, because most people are deficient in a lot of nutrients because we eat very poorly. Um, but I there was a scandal with AG1. Like there was this is a very big brand, a very popular brand. They were saying that they had things into their powders which were not truly there. They never showed third-party testing, and also the founder was in a bit of a legal problem situation where he basically escaped from New Zealand not to go to court. So he's a bit of a felon. So I you have to look at the people that are behind the company. The brand is just an extension of a company, that's of a person. And I'm not going to trust somebody that is just running from the law, not taking responsibility, or not even being upfront about it. But with Good Green Vitality, as I said, I love the team. They're very forthcoming. I've asked so many things. I've asked, for example, there are some ingredients that are different in the UK or Europe and the US. And I asked them, why is this in the US and not in Europe? Um, and they explained to me why. And I will share it in another episode where I talk about the product per se very openly. And the person that is in touch with me is obviously my contact as an affiliate, but she's like, if you want to know reports, if you want to talk to the nutritionist, they have a nutritionist, actually two or so on board, which can share information as to also the rationale. I can do that. I can have a call with them. And maybe that's actually something to do for a podcast, to invite them on and speak about the different ingredients in different countries and talk about the specific product, which I truly love. They also make protein powders. I have one here, but they have more. They have like protein powders with different elements, always supporting gut health, so fiber rich. And then also, if you look behind me, where I'm not an affiliate of Dr. Boltzowitz 38 Terra, which is a prebiotic. And it's a prebiotic which has resistant starches, which sometimes we get, sometimes we not. And actually, I get a lot of fiber, but because I don't eat a lot of cooked food, I don't get a lot of resistant starches from like potatoes, for example. Reheating potatoes will do that. Reheating grains will do that. I don't eat a lot of those things. So um, I'm benefiting from having that product and taking it. So again, a personal choice, but when I see something works is nice, why not? Now that's different, by the way, and I want to plug this in. 38 Terra is very different to the goddess glucose goddess probiotic, prebiotic thing, fiber thing. Uh, that woman, I honestly can't even bring myself to say kind things. I don't want to say mean things, but like to say kind things, because I feel like she's become this marketing machine that tries to sell ice to Eskimos. And it is not like, if you look at the product, somebody had it in the co-working space that I was at, and I looked at it and my jaw was on the floor. It's like broccoli, sprouts. You know what doesn't cost $1 million? Broccoli and sprouts. Eat the freaking veggies, get your starches from there, get your fiber from there, not starches, sorry, get your fiber there, and stop buying BS expensive products, because that's expensive crap. And it's just like, and this will just lower your glucose. Actually, if you have fiber in your diet, your glucose levels will be stable and long term. And in any case, a little spike is normal. Actually, a spike is normal, and we all buy individuals, and will change also. Have you just had your workout and you're eating after workout? Are you stressed? Have you not slept well? Like, what's going on? Are you sick? Because, your body will use more glucose. It's normal to have spikes. So unless you have type 2 diabetes or type 1 diabetes or any kind of diabetes, you do not have to worry about a spike, because physiologically speaking, the blood glucose will go down within a couple of hours. If you see that that's not the case, because maybe you're measuring or you're doing your test and you measure your A1C, then maybe you can start thinking, what am I doing that I could change? A lot of the times it's really simply swapping processed foods for whole foods. And quite honestly, I've seen interviews with her where she's like, you can still have your pain au chocolat, you just have to have the different elements at different times. I am not gonna say pain au chocolat is good food. I'm sorry. I know we don't want to brand food good and bad, but I'm not on the fence with these things. I don't do politically correct shit. I am going to say it. A lot of people are eating very poorly, and a lot of people are in trouble with their health. So there is no space for flexibility and balance because people don't know what that means. If they did, they wouldn't be sick and they wouldn't be consuming crap all the time. Then the cost, of course, is a problem. But again, I'm like, okay, how can we help people have better whole foods that doesn't cost like $1 million? Rice, beans. You don't even have to go have quinoa. You don't have to have quinoa. You don't have to have green powders. You don't have to have spirulina and chlorella. You don't have to have any of that. Beans, veggies, rice. If you even base your diet on like most of the blue zones, by the way, like, Costa Rica, that's that's what they eat there. Sweet potatoes, Okinawa, with some tofu for protein on top of the beans. Like you can eat whole foods and not spend a lot of money, feed your family well, and still thrive. And oats are not expensive, so becoming scared of oats is crazy, crazy. When it comes to milks, if you don't want to buy them because the carton is expensive, which it is, make your own milk. You can buy some almonds, you soak them, you blend them. If you have the Nama milk maker, you can make your own milk. You can make it even with a blender, but like it's fast free with the Nama, and it's great because it's creamy. You can balance how much you want to put in. You can do it. So the point is that we do not need to go crazy when it comes to our food because and we don't have to worry about spikes. We don't have to worry about buying supplements that are expensive to get fiber when you can get fiber from your food. So I wanted to put that out there. So yeah, of course I will take some supplements. I take supplements for like I take a multivitamin, and I take the Good Green Vitality. I take the 38 Terra, but equally, I am trying to fix something right now as well. But generally speaking, have good food. You don't have to worry about all these things, really. So I wanted to plug this in because I feel like it's everywhere. And AG1 is not the same as Good Green Vitality. The companies are very different. I trust these guys. And if you want to talk to them, they will respond. They're really good at responding. They're really good at supporting. So please do so. I also wanted to mention something actually. In the past episodes, I have mentioned Froya. It's a skincare brand that they send me their products. Honestly, they're really lovely. But I found out later that they had beeswax. I didn't know. I didn't see it on the ingredients list. So my mistake. So they're not vegan. So I am not going to endorse them anymore. I know it's tricky to have products that don't have beeswax. Beeswax is amazing, but I can't not be vegan. So I choose to not harm. And unfortunately, the industry, it's not like it's somebody's backyard and they have bees and, the beeswax is the leftover or their house, but that's not where that comes from. So I don't want to participate into it. So I had to stop the affiliation. So from now on, you won't see it in the episodes. And I apologize if I haven't, it was my oversight not seeing that it's not vegan. Again, we're not perfect, but definitely taught me to be more to do more due diligence. I tried it. The products that were sent to me, they were great. That's why I took them on. But yeah, because of this, I'm not gonna endorse them anymore. So apologies about that, guys. If you trusted me they were vegan and they're not, I'm really, really sorry. It was my mistake for not looking properly, I guess, at the ingredients. I looked at the ingredients and I didn't see it. I really just saw the plants. So yeah, my bad. So I wanted to mention this. So yeah, I really wanted to say thank you for listening to the podcast, for interacting on social media. I have put a plea out to all my friends on social media to please interact more. The algorithm is not a friend of small accounts. And what I'm trying to do is create a community. And besides the community online, what I want to do is also create a community offline where we can meet, whether it's international meetups, doing events and retreats here in Portugal where you can come. And I love to hear from you because I want to hear affordability, time availability, all these things that are super important. So sending you lots of love, and I can't wait to be here with you again. Bye.